Rick, how you doing?
Good morning, Keith. How are you? Just adjusting the lights here. They've got a little dead spot and I got a bright spot, and I'm not a light tech. So this
You
is
look
the best I can do.
you look fantastic, man.
Oh, thank you.
Um, One of the things that really helped me early on when right before uh, we started doing the practice, and my life really changed in a way that was headed toward experiencing peace and love and joy. And when I say experiencing it, I don't mean that something outside was I was coming interacting with that was making me experience that. What was going that I made the choice that internally I was going to begin to think and behave in a way that I experienced that inside, regardless of what was happening outside. And there was a question that I asked myself, and the question was, um, is this what I want to be experiencing a year from now? And literally that was a question. Like, so when I went through that breakup many years ago, and there was a suffering there and all the emotions that come with that, of like, oh my God, I'm alone, or there's something missing, there's this void, there's this lack, and all the stuff with that. What will people think? Just all the suffering. I remember saying to myself, do I want to experience this a year from now? And the answer was no. And then the second thing that came in with that answer created an opening.
Hmm.
And that from that opening came the next question, or the right action. And it was, here's what you need to do so that you don't experience that ever again. Not just a year from now, but ever again. And what was so clear to me is that the answer did not, or the solution, the remedy was not going to be resolved by having a new person in my life. It was not going to be resolved by getting a job, or my dream job, or my dream house, or going on a vacation, or going out to forget about what was going on. That was not going to do it. If I got into a relationship, I'm just introducing somebody else to my internal drama. That's all I'm doing. I get a new job, I'm taking me there, the not broken me, the unconscious me there. And so I knew that I had to take action so that regardless of whatever happened on the outside, I was going to be okay. And more than okay, I was going to be peaceful. Um, and so I asked myself that, and then I just started to back the question up, if I'm like this 6 months from now, if I'm experiencing 6 months from now, is that okay? Nope, it's not. Uh, a month from now, nope. A week from now, a day from now, no, it's not. And so it became so clear to me, man, what the next action was going to be is I was going to do whatever it took not to experience that again. Again, not looking outside of myself, because that's temporary. I needed something that was going to be long term. And so when you and I talked, and you shared some of your practice with me, I shared what I was thinking. And so this practice, I was like, man, this is a way to not experience that anymore. And I understood very clearly that it was going to be a lifelong activity, a lifelong commitment. Now, some people look at this lifelong commitment, and I've heard them say, like, I gotta do this for the rest of my life. Yeah, that almost implies that you haven't been doing some other kind of behavior your whole life.
Yeah,
You
that's
have.
right.
You
That's
just
right.
been used to that dysfunctional behavior, so you don't even notice it. You know what I'm saying? Like all worrying, ruminating, obsessive thinking, anxiousness, feelings hurt when somebody doesn't do something that you think they should do. You've been doing that your whole life, nonstop, judging. Like so we're just replacing that behavior with something that's actually good for you. And that was a whole different endeavor for me, Rick. And man, has it been rewarding.
Mhm. Well, you had to get to a point where you just were so dissatisfied and so upset with yourself, about the way you were living, and you knew that it was dysfunctional, and you knew that it was causing you pain. And so that's what leverage is all about. The idea, it's like when we start in a fitness regimen. Usually we start in a fitness regimen because we don't like where we're at physically. You know, we're eating too much. We don't like how we look in the mirror. We don't like how our clothes fit. We don't like the idea that we can't keep up when we're doing physical activities with other people that we like. So that pain causes us to move in a direction to solve it, to get into shape, to look better, to feel better. Well, it's the same thing psychologically and emotionally. If you're going through all of the things that you were talking about, the anxiety, the fear, and all the rest, there's a reason for that. And the reason for that begins with how you accept and how you don't accept externals. And what you were saying was that you're dealing with things all the time that are coming in that are going to cause you to act in a certain way that you've always acted. You know, it's not like you're acting in this sort of vacuum. You have built up defenses. You have built up a way of looking at life. You have opinions about every damn thing there is under the sun. You have a way that you want things to be, including how other people should be. All of that stuff is addressed in the practice. And the further you can get away from that, and the more you can focus on the beauty of life and the understanding that you have the ability to make anything out of anything, and that you don't need anyone's permission to do it. You just need to decide that there's enough pain with the way you're living now that the practice, give it a whirl and see. And on the issue of, you know, do I have to do this the rest of my life? Do you have to eat the rest of your life? Do you have to take a shower the rest of your life? I mean, if you look at it like that, it's, oh my God, I got to get under the water again today. Oh, gee. You know, who thinks like that? It's like, oh, you got to take a shower. It's the same thing with the practice. Oh, I'm going to meditate. Oh, I'm going to take care of myself and be outdoors for a bit. Oh, I'm not going to judge this person. I'm going to give this person credit and not expect anything coming back from me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do my very best and not have any hope of recognition from anybody. I just want to solve this problem. Those kinds of attitudes come from the practice, but you got to start down that road when you start realizing that always hoping for other people's approval, for example, and always trying to avoid looking bad and always putting yourself and looking good ahead of everything else that you do is a trap, and it causes you pain.
Rick, I totally agree, man. And, you know, for if I was to hear this conversation, I think now, well, for now, for sure, it would resonate with me. But back then I was like, well, but like, I need you to give me a better example. Okay, here's the example. The example is, let's say that you are a person in a field that requires you to be on call or on standby, right? And so at Mayo, people are on call, physicians, healthcare, you know, professionals, that, for example, nurses or technologists, they're on call. Right. So if your attitude is, oh my God, here I'm going to go on call, you know, again. And okay. And let's say that you go on call every few weeks. Then the question becomes, do I want to experience call like this every time it comes up?
That's a good example.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do I want to experience it like this every time it comes up? I mean, you can keep doing what you've been doing, or you can do the practice. So however call shows up, you're different when you get to call. Like, period. And you can do it with anybody, like, let's say that you have a family member, an in-law that is challenging, or not even an in-law, like your mom is challenging to be around. Then you say to yourself, like, I'm probably going to see my mom, like, you know, a couple of times a month, or could be challenging, judgmental. It could be your father, whoever it is, a coworker. Let's go with a coworker who you're going to see almost every day. The question is, do you want to have that experience when you're with your coworker like that? You want to experience that for the rest of your career working with this person? For me, I was like, I don't want to be experiencing this a year from now like this, or a month from now, another day, my next shift with this coworker. I do not want to experience it like that. Right. Now, right. Most people think that the solution is the coworker needs to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No. That's a dead end. You've been wishing for that for the last 5 years, and the coworker's still here. So that had to work. No, you need to be okay with that coworker being there. You don't need anything outside for you to be okay inside, but that's the way we've been, you know, behaving. No, You need to be okay however the coworker shows up. They're a loud talker. They don't recognize anybody else in the room. Okay, you be good with that.
Keith, that brings up a great example of what happens in social media. When you get so locked into how wronged you are and what a victim you are, man, you've got so many instant friends because they want to be victims too. So the great thing about Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of it, where you're trying really hard to impress other people about your victimhood, is they're anxious to impress you about yours. So you have this tacit understanding. Oh, how do you deal with that poor coworker? You are such a saint. My God, I don't believe what a great, and then you're expected to do the same thing back. That self-reinforcing nonsense makes it even harder to get out of that terrible situation where you're not living. You're causing yourself pain, and you're missing the whole point of compassion and service and help. Helping others. Anyway, you and I aren't on Facebook or Twitter, and there's a good reason for that.
No, and to your point, Rick, what causes more suffering than the individual ego? The collective ego.
Ego. Yeah.
That's even more, man. And you just go down like this, this organization, they don't really get it, or they're doing this, or my family. But okay, as long as you're there, do you want to, if you are experiencing this from a year from now, is that okay with you? And once you come to the realization that it has nothing to do with the organization changing, with other people changing, with situations changing, that you can do something internally, so you're okay with whatever shows up, whatever somebody says, you're cool with.
Well said. That's beautiful.
A whole different way of living, man. And so that was one of the questions I asked myself early on, right before I started to, develop and do the practice. I asked myself that question, and I said, if I am experiencing this a year from now, is that okay with me? If I'm experiencing my next interaction with this person, if I'm experiencing suffering of judging them, what they do triggers something in me to where I get all weird inside and I don't like it, I'm all disturbed, is that okay? For me to spend that 5 minutes, an hour in their presence, is that okay? Like a lot of people are about to roll into Thanksgiving, okay? And they got some people their Thanksgiving is going to be fantastic. It's going to be the Waltons. Other people's Thanksgiving may not be that. Your Thanksgiving can be the Waltons too.
That's right.
You just go in there with, I want to spend this Thanksgiving, and nothing they're going to say is going to bother me. They're going to say something like politics, and you're going to get all weird inside when they start saying it. You just like, oh my God, this turkey's amazing. Like you just come back to your senses. They will say something outrageous. You don't even get involved, man. I mean, seriously, when I see a light show going on outside or whatever happening, Rick, I'm not even involved. I observe, and I bring my focus right back to what helps me be peaceful. I don't really know you're wrong doing me that. I just like, I'm staying right here, man. And so that question was really, really helpful for me, Rick, in terms of staying on the path. And even now, when something happens and my ego pops up, I say, nope, I don't want to spend another day, another moment experiencing this. And I'm not running from it. What I'm doing is I am simply releasing that string to that narrative about this particular situation, this person. And so I'm just releasing it. So I become untethered to it. Yeah. And when I'm untethered,
that's right.
I get to be free, man.
That's right. Yeah. John Kabat-Zinn, who's a Zen writer, Zinn, John Kabat-Zinn says, no matter where you go, there you are. And so if you take your practice to Thanksgiving dinner, you'll have a marvelous time. If you don't, you're going to pay the price because it's very difficult for humans to avoid getting into defending their own opinions. You have to defend, you have to make sure everybody understands how you feel. You don't. You don't. It's just another illusion that you suffer from, unfortunately.
Yep. Well, Rick, thanks for a great show, man.
I really love listening to your path, Keith. It's amazing. And it reminds me to stay on my own because I am so flawed. And like I say, as soon as this monitor goes off, I'm going to start bitching about something. So it's nice to be with you so I remember what I'm supposed to be doing.
Awesome, man. I love you.
I love you. Adios.
Adios.